Welcome to another Barker commentary video. In this video, I'll be doing more analysis and kind of my opinion on the Intel 14th gen and the 15th gen CPU. And on the other side, the AMD, I'm going to be giving my opinion on the 5600X3D R97950F and the now officially launched RX7900GRE and the new laptop chip, the R97950x3d basically HX edition. So, the Intel 14th gen, it's kind of confirmed that it's happening, that it's just another refresh of 13th gen, which is another refresh of 12th gen. So, yay, Intel is potentially able to have 3 CPU generation in one socket. That is a pretty good thing, but Intel probably didn't want this. For me, what also tripped me as Intel gonna launch a refresh is for the people that paid attention to HTPC or the people who haven't, they would realize Xeon W2s and W3s for the DIYs and for some SIs are non-existent and no stock. These two kind of made me be like, hey, Intel is probably going to be doing that on the same socket as well. Last time they did this where they only have one generation of CPU in that one socket, or they just quickly ditched the platform. Yeah, the vendors for the platform were not happy, and it ended up Intel having to do a lot of compensation to their board partners to be like, yeah, we goofed up. Yeah, we'll pay for you to get rid of your e-waste. So, ultimately, if you're still on 12th gen, K's maybe is worth it to buy an upgrade, but maybe if you're not on the K's, yeah, maybe if you can use the threads, yeah, you can go move to the 14th gen if your motherboard eventually get BIOS upgraded to support 14th gen. However, if you're on the 12th gen Ks, I really don't see the point of buying even 14th gen. You basically have no reason to upgrade, as all you're getting is maybe more clock speed on the CPU, and for some reason you want a faster RAM. That's kind of all you're getting, upgrading from 12th to 14th and 13th to 14th generation. It's but what I do think could be potentially worth buying a new platform for is the 15th generation. This is what I think 14th gen was originally meant to be. But, however, Intel, we all know about the Intel reputation. Sometimes of the new reputation, they try to freaking recover something that from freaking Bob Swan era, and Pat Gelsinger is like, this is absolute disaster. Let's try salvage it. 15th gen seems to be salvaged, but they probably had to delay one generation. But as a result of this delay, according to the rumor mill, the P cores are new architecture, the E cores are new architecture. The new architecture is gonna bring you more IPC, which is good. Which means if you're one of those people who's like, I want to have an even faster computer, but at a pretty, where you can justify it, I think 15th gen could be when you want to look at PC upgrade again. And as one in the rumor mill's like, oh, the P cores are going to get an upgrade, the E cores are going to get an upgrade. Meanwhile, the Xeon W refresh, on the other hand, yeah, doesn't is, well, the good thing is they might finally be not just be stuck on Intel 12th gen cores, and maybe to the rumor mill, some say it's uses 13th gen core, some say it's 12 gen, some say is a 13th gen core with some 14th gen features, or 12th gen cores with some fixed silicon that they got from the 12th, 13th, and 14th gen, which is good because Intel, the W2s and 3s, they are getting their asses slaughtered by their competitors. Both in the AM4 is the Threadrippers, they are outright slaughtering the Xeon Ws, which are costing them, in some scenario, more, and using up more power, and be less a bit harder to cool. But generally, Xeon W's refresh could salvage what's left of Intel HTPC reputation, and Intel, as we can really see from 13th and 14th and even some in 12th gen, Intel is in survival mode and is really just trying to keep some of their big customers happy, some of their smaller customers that are there. Intel's like, yeah, we're willing to lose them. Yet I think they are letting go of certain market that they'll be like, yeah, those are not worth our thing, which is the smaller volume SIs, and that don't move millions of CPU per year, PC per year. Where those market, Intel seems to just be like, yeah, we're out of those market. Now, on to the AMD section. The AMD 5600X3D, this CPU launched only in one retailer in the USA for the DIY, and system integrators are getting stock of it. The CPU itself in DIY segment makes no sense. As well, it's pretty actually a poor value. However, what makes the CPU a good choice is when you can buy it in bundles, where the retailer would discount the CPU and the bundle product. Like maybe they bundle in the new AM4, some DDR4, or just basically they bundle stuff into the system and be like, hey, yeah, this bundle, if you buy it separately, it's going to cost you like a few hundred more. But if you buy in this bundle, it becomes a good value, and this is where the 5600X3D becomes a good value for the people that are building brand new rigs. However, the majority of it seems to be the winners are the SIs, which, for those people that are unaware, during COVID and when the lockdown and a lot of, when GPUs were in hot demand, a lot of system integrators and a lot of retailers, they were forced to buy a lot of motherboards. And that means some system integrators and some retailers were forced to buy hundreds of, or every graphics card that they sold, they had to buy like 10, 100 freaking motherboard so that they can get GPU allocation. So if a retailer happens to be like, we got tons of AM4 board from that, and we have no attached CPU, and somehow AMD's like, here you go, here's a bunch of cheap, we'll give you 5600X3D for really cheap, and then you can go get rid of all the AM4 motherboards. Suddenly, you just AMD is now in the good graces of a lot of system integrators and retailers that just were forced to buy, well, AM4 motherboards in mass volume just to get their graphics card allocation. This is a pretty smart thing AMD is doing. One, that, as I already said, they're having SIs and retailers. They are now trusting AMD to at least help them get rid of excessive stock. And AMD has saw this as a niche product. They launched it as a niche product. Good job, AMD, for one time where you didn't screw up your product launch. The next CPU that I'll be talking about is the R97950x3d. This next CPU is kind of like, it's a weird scenario. It's basically the same core and thread as a 7600, but however the 7500F, as the name suggests, there is no integrated graphics on the I/O die. So it seems that AMD's like, oh yeah, we have some I/O dies that have defects in them that happens to hit directly onto the, the integrated graphics section, and we have to disable them. I guess we now have functional I/O dies, but there's no iGPU. I guess they just be like, we just slapped the 7600 chiplet, and maybe we slap the lower quality 7600 chiplet and be like, yeah, let's sell it as a lower end SKU CPU with no iGPU. The MSRP for this does make sense if you're willing to, one, manually overclock it to as fast as the 7600, as well as you are guaranteed to basically have a discrete graphics card on hand, and basically you never intend to even use any features of the integrated graphics card. I guess if you're in that audience, this is the CPU for you. You can save the money and go buy a 7500F. The last CPU that I'm talking about is now the R97950x3d HX edition. This is basically the R97950x3d on a laptop. There's nothing different other than maybe lower TDP. It's literally lower TDP out of box, and maybe lower clock speed so that it fits within the laptop form factor. The rumor mills say there will be only one laptop out of the entire CPU lifespan that will have this this R97950x3d HX CPU is the Asus Strix 17. So, if you looked into a Asus ROG Strix 17 and you don't like the POMs that the non-3D version or the Intel version has, guess what? This R97950x3d HX edition is not going to fix that POM. Which means you might as well make, if you don't like that laptop chassis or what it does, Asus is doing, this CPU might as well as not exist, and you might as well go buy the 7950 HX, where there is more laptop variety, where Lenovo has one, Asus has one, I think even Alienware has one, and there are more choices when you get the non-X3D. Hopefully, some more laptop OEM puts this CPU. It would be interesting if there is more choice, but if the rumor mill is true, I think this 7950 HX X3D CPU is a snooze fest, and it's a CPU to skip, as the rumored laptop chassis that is going to be for this CPU is terrible, and I don't think is a good laptop. Unfortunately, this chip got a short end of the straw, got into a bad system. Now, on to the AMD RX 7900 GRE edition. This graphics card officially launched, and basically it is an even more cut down 7900 XT, which is a cut down 7900 XTX. So this graphics card, to me, even if AMD doesn't say it, is meant to be the replacement of the RX 6800 16GB. The first impression of this graphics card, again, the MSRP $649 according to Tom's Hardware. It pretty much undercut the current street value of the 7900 XT by $50, where most 7900 XTs are $700 to $750. Okay, if you were one of those weird people that was like, I want to get even cheaper 7900 XT, I guess this is the graphics card for you. However, be mindful, this SKU of the graphics card, if we were to trust the rumor mill, this is the worst Navi 31 bin silicon quality, so it's not going to have the best efficiency when being overclocked, and it's likely not going to have a lot of overclocking headroom. And AMD isn't going to intentionally cut down 7900 XTXs and 7900 XTs to 7900 GRE edition to basically be cutting down, unless AMD really is desperate to get rid of silicon. I do not see that happening while the RX 7000 series is the latest generation. Maybe when the RX 8000 series, we might see better bin silicon being cut down to GRE edition. But until then, I don't think this 900 GRE edition is gonna get you the best. If you want to be doing tinkering, go buy the XT or the XTX. And also AMD, you missed an opportunity with this graphics card launch to officially price drop all your graphics card from the 7000 series, like the 7900 XTX. Just drop it to like $800 or $900, just like how the real street price, and the 7900 XT, just officially price drop it to $700 or $750. I am pretty sure if you did that, you are going to be able to do some real consumer graphics card penetrate the market, where your competitor seems to be not willing to drop the prices, or when they do drop the price, it's not officially recognized by the NVIDIA, by your competitor. Anyway, AMD, you missed out on your CPU side. Good. Your graphics card side has taken another L. And also, it seems to be happening the same thing with AMD. AMD is seem to be like taking some of their low bin or some faulty functional bins good on you, AMD, for not throwing out functional silicon. Because I know certain companies, they'll be like, we're just going to throw out working silicon just because we can. Good on you for being in one step toward being environmentally friendly. And I hope you keep on doing this. And I hope you, yeah, overall, AMD, sometimes you do good things, sometimes you do questionable things. But that's basically every company. They would do good things and then sometimes they would do questionable things. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, do the typical like, subscribe, and if you want to grow this community, share this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.